No, we'll just. Right. This better? Awesome. Okay. Alright, looks like everyone's ready and up now. So, hey there everyone, and welcome to Redline Racing Community. We're here for the Tuesday night racing here at the Austrian Red Bull Ring. Getting ready for the second round of tonight's championship here at the Red Bull Ring. The 4.3 or 2.6 kilometer circuit with 10 corners is going to play host to tonight's race. Obviously the Red Bull Ring, so hopefully the all teams of Red Bull Racing and AlphaTauri can definitely put on a very nice show for us all tonight. We've got a format of a short qualifying session followed by a 50% race. Dynamic weather, so of course wet weather could definitely play a factor today, with full damage and corner cutting stringency on strict. Very easy to get a penalty here at the Red Bull Ring, so fingers crossed we don't see too much of that going on today. It's a very good circuit for racing. Obviously we've seen some very good races, of course. In 2020 there was two, the Austrian and the Styrian Grand Prix. The first one laid host to Lando Norris's maiden F1 podium, and a very good race, must be said. Of course, as well at Styria, where we saw Alex Albon be taken out by Lewis Hamilton for the second time, which cost him his second chance at a Formula 1 podium. But we're ready here at Austria for the short qualifying format, and coming into round two after last week's race at the Hungaroring, it is Jewel who leads the way on 25 points, Alex Ham in second with 18, Jonathan Cox, the reigning champion, down in third with 15, Walker in fourth with 12, Brabbit in P5 with 10, Hazard in P6 with 8, iStreams in P7 with 4, Extremist YT in 8th with 2, Maverick in P9 with 1, and everyone else had retired, so they're all tied for 10th place. But it's a bit gloomy and overcast for today's qualifying session, so hopefully we don't see any rain. If there is going to be any rain, we're going to see a lot of people get out the early, and I'm pretty sure it's a straightforward strategy. Not too much obviously hard on the tyre corners, so it could be a pretty straightforward soft to medium lap time. We've got a comment as well. Evening LH44, welcome to the stream. My apologies, it says Thursday. I'll definitely get that amended when I can. It says Thursday when it's Tuesday night racing, guys. But just waiting to see if there's anyone that's going to get out on track for us, or if everyone's just going to hold station for the time being. Let's see if we have anything we can talk about. So oh, looks like there's been a Jewel has left the session. Has anyone else left the session? No, just Jewel, the last week's race winner. There's a car coming out on track. But yeah, so the reigning after last week's race in Hungary, a very good race with a late safety car, brought a lot of action and threw a lot of drivers into the mix for that day. And yeah, it was definitely a good race. If you haven't seen it, do go check it out. It's on the channel's page. But yeah, it was a very good race last week for the inaugural round of the championship. A late safety car gave a lot of people a good run in at the race win, and Jewel's joined back as well. So last week's race winner back in and ready for qualifying. There's a lot of people coming out on track, so it looks like they're all wanting that slipstream, that toe. When you're following behind a car going down a straight, they're pushing a lot of the air outwards of the way, so you're getting a lot less air resistance and you're gaining a lot of speed in their slipstream. Obviously it hurts them a little bit. Turbulent air from all the vortices of the very complex aerodynamic parts that are Formula 1 very technical machines. But yeah, very technical cars, and when you're behind a car, it does lose the downforce for the driver behind through a corner. But it is very good when you're in this slipstream. So Walker, a very, very quick driver, and one who did have a shout at the race win last week, coming through here at the Red Bull Ring, coming in to turn 1, then braking just before the 50, down to 4th gear, using the engine braking very nicely, trail braking through, not using too much curb, otherwise you do get an invalidation. Coming up this long straight, through turn 2, which really isn't a corner, coming into turn 3, the uphill braking zone, braking just at the 100 board, down the gears as quick as you can, 2nd gear, 3rd gear to get the extra traction on the exit, using the curb on the exit, not what you want to be doing. You get a lot of wheel spin, and coming down this next straight and into turn 4, braking just after the 100 board, very, very late, long sweeping corner that you really need to get the speed in through, and a lot of momentum, which slings you into the infield section of turn 5 and 6. 5th gear, 6th gear, just to get that extra bit of power, singing it in, not even needing to brake, just down a couple of gears to get the rotation, and coming through into the penultimate corner of turns 9 and 10. Here we go then. Late as you dare on the brakes, just a quick dab and down 2 gears to get the rotation, very quick corner at about 150 miles an hour, 4th gear, 5th gear, 6th gear across the line. Optics is pole at the moment with a 103.8, Walker goes provisional pole with a 103.420, iStreams YT with a 104.5 further back. Alex Ham across the line, was it a decent lap? It was a 105.2, Extremist goes 3rd place with a 103.8, nearly matching Optics' time there. Crovey with not really an optimal lap time with a 102.0, Big Mac across the line is a validated lap time, but Bagos, Jonathan Cox's teammate, it's never easy being a reigning champions teammate across the line. What is his first banker going to be? It's a 104.9, which puts him a provisional P5. Still 13 minutes left to go in the session, so I'm going to assume we got a lot of people looking to get out. Big Mac has already invalidated his 2nd flyer, so he's going to be looking to come in and get some new tyres on and see if he can put on some competitive lap time. Cyril Ferg, someone who was in a very good shout with winning last week's race, very good battle up the front, very quick driver across the line. It's a 102.3, it's a 102.35, which puts him at a provisional P2, just behind Walker then, who's on a 103.4. Anyone else has set a time? Last week's P5 man looking very consistent. Again, setting a time good enough for P5 at the moment. 104.1. Alex Ham just about topples in there with his 2nd lap, just dipping into 103s with a 103.9. Looks like our reigning champion, Jonathan Cox, looking to make a good showing in his Red Bull car here at the Red Bull Ring. Hopefully it brings him a bit of good luck, as we saw Max Verstappen looking very good at Austria, winning the 2018 and 19 and almost the 2020 if had it not been for some reliability issues. But through turn 1 then, getting a bit caught up, not quite using as much curb as he wants. Of course, it's only a bank lap, so he is able to take a little bit of liberty and hopefully build upon that lap. And coming through into the uphill turn 3, then let's see how much he attacks it down the gears so quickly, using that extra late 2nd gear downshift to get the extra rotation. Doesn't short shift to 3rd, trusts the traction, using all the energy recovery system at his disposal. Obviously, you only get a certain amount of use per lap. Coming into turn 4, then braking as late as he dares into 3rd gear, using the momentum and that curb to slingshot him through this long right hand that leads into the infield section as wide as he goes, and through into the infield section. Then 6th gear, chucking it in 7th, down to 5th gear, trying to get close to that inside curb, and flat out then as he comes in to the penultimate corner. Does Jonathan Cox into the penultimate corner where he goes then. He really needs to attack this, coming in to nearly 200 miles an hour, chucking it in 7th gear, getting a bit squirmy on the exit though, and across the line for his first bank lap. It's a 102.3, it's a 103.1, a very, very quick lap time then, 3/10 clear of Walker for the moment, and that is a very, very good lap time straight out of the gate from Jonathan Cox, who is currently provisional pole in a Red Bull around the Red Bull Ring, so he is looking at very good. Last week's race winner also on a good lap, coming across the line. It's a 103.333, which puts him at a provisional P2 as well, so he's also looking pretty good. A very consistent driver who made the most of penalty situations last week. LH44, who was looking good, it comes into the pits, completely ignores any pit entry and just sends it into the pit lane. Looks like while that was happening, Soz and Pat set a lap time to put in P10. Streams YT down into P9. Optics puts himself P5. Ferg as well, looking in P4 as well. So it looks like the top 4 looking pretty consistent and carrying over pretty much from last week as well. So not looking too bad. Alex Ham as well managed to put himself in a very good position last week after the safety car. He played a very nice strategy to put himself up into that P2 position. Hopefully he can replicate that. At the moment he's in P7, not ideal, but he's still got 10 minutes left to go in the session, and can definitely put a good lap in when he wants to. So Looks like Jonathan Cox has gone for another lap, or is he? No, he's just backing off. He's got no fuel. Jewel again across the line. He's looking to set a faster lap time, 102.0. So he beats Jonathan Cox's 103.1 and goes to provisional pole as well. So a very, very good time then out of the gate. And the Williams of Extremis YT, who also looked pretty good last week as well, didn't do too bad. The Extremis YT at the moment with 103.8, 8/10 off your pole man, Jewel for the moment. And coming through, is he up on his time? He's a 10th up on his time. A 10th would put him into a provisional P5 position. Let's see if he can gain any more on his lap time. Let's see as well if anyone has updated and gone for an alternate strategy. No one opted in for the medium tyres, so everyone going for them soft tyres as quick as they can. Obviously with qualifying, when you go into a short qualifying session, it's basically a Q2/Q3. So if you qualify inside the top 10, the tyres you set your fastest qualifying lap on are the tyres you have to start the race on. It doesn't matter if they're hard, medium, soft, if they're 50 laps old, if they're 5 laps old. If you've set your fastest time on those tyres, you have to start the race on them. An advantage of starting outside the top 10 is you have a free choice of tyre. So you're able to choose what tyre you want to start the race on, which could definitely give them a very, very big advantage in the strategy department. And Extremis YT did go a lot faster. He went about 3/10 faster on his time, just behind the 4th place man of Ferg. Drops him down into P6 as Lewis, I'll just call him Lewis, goes 4th fastest with a 103.4. Very, very close times then from 3rd down. Very, very close times at the front as well. That is just the competitiveness of this division for Tuesdays. And looking very, very, very good is this race, and hopefully we're set up for a very good race. Obviously qualifying times will be close. It's only a minute lap time. One of the shortest circuits on the F1 calendar, I believe second just behind Monaco. Monaco obviously being the shortest, but Austria being the fastest, and overall, you know, one of the quickest average speed lap times. A lot of this track is taken at full throttle, and we see some of the shortest lap times we'll probably ever see, only ever beaten really by the Bahrain oval layout. We made a shock appearance in 2020. We don't really have that available in the Codemasters Formula 1 game, so Austria is the shortest and fastest track these guys will be racing on for the moment. Cyril Ferg on a pretty decent lap. He's at P3 at the moment. If he has a 2/10 improvement, he'll currently topple Jonathan Cox to a provisional P2 position. He's almost out of ERS across the line. He goes pole with a 103.033. So that was a very, very quick time then from Cyril Ferg, who puts himself in a very good provisional pole position. CRL lock out the front row as it stands. LH44 with a very quick time up into P4 as well with a 103.342. As I say that though, Walker the first man into the 102s with a 102.893. Just smashing that pole time out of the park. Jewel and Jonathan Cox both react and go for an outlap, so they're looking to improve on their time. They've still got 7 minutes left to go in the session, and it's looking a very spicy pole battle. Is it up in front? But yeah, very, very quick time from Walker there. LH44, is he on a lap as well? Looks like he's just backing off. He's looking pretty good in a P5. Extremis YT down in 7th. 3/10 up on his time though is Alex Ham, as he's made a pretty good first sector. Looks like he's backed out of it though. Yeah, he's backed out of that lap. It was a pretty good first sector though, it looked like. But unfortunately he didn't quite manage to make the most of it. But Brabbit McLaren, who did pretty well last race with a P5, currently sits P9, just on the cusp of the top 10. RRC Optics with a 103.8 in just rounding off the top 10. And iStreams YT is in P11, which is probably the best position to be in if you are in the midfield, from probably 6th downwards. If you're in P11, you're definitely going to be making the most of your free choice of tyre. Obviously, if you get a good start, it's very, very easy to get caught up. And it looks like there's yellow flags in sector 3. Just looks like a Haas waiting up for people. Could be Walker, who just wants to come into the pit lane. Yeah, it was Walker. Jewel though on a really good time. Looks like he's setting a pretty clean lap. He currently sits P3. A 2/10 improvement would see him bump up into a provisional pole position. Let's have a little look at his sector times for this lap. Dew will then on his third time, 15.7, 28.1. Let's see if it is enough to topple Walker to pole. Walker currently sits pole position, and across the line he comes. It's a 102.8, which just about topples him to pole position then, with 4/100ths of a second between them at the moment. So Dew will reclaims the the provisional pole position lap time. Jonathan Cox looking to respond. He's a 10th up on his time. That's not quite good enough. Let's see if he can commit a lot more through this final sector, and if he can gain a little bit to see if he can get on that pole position here at the Red Bull Ring. Coming through then down to 4th, down up to 5th to get that little bit extra traction across the line. It's a 102, it's a 102.999, which bumps him up into P3, which is just ahead of Cyril Ferg, who's very, very close behind. The top 4 all within a couple of tenths, a tenth and a half of each other is at the top 4. We lads as well, not doing too bad down in P6 in the Ferrari. The Ferrari's had an absolutely cataclysmic real-life Grand Prix here at Austria and Styria. Definitely was not their day. Well, in Austria, Charles did somehow clinch a P2 out of that Ferrari, and then obviously in Styria he just completely drove in fashion as if he wasn't there. But they moved. They definitely moved after 20. Not their brightest season whatsoever. We've now got 8 people watching, so if you are enjoying, guys, do make sure to leave a like on the stream. It does help as the channel out as well. There'll also be a highlights reel of this race up as well that I'll be editing myself later on tonight, so it might be up on this one, it might be up on my personal channel. But we've now got 9 people watching, 4 minutes to go in the qualifying session, guys. You're almost just in time for the race. You just got a couple minutes of qualifying to go, and it looks very close up at front. LH44 in P5 with a 103.3 just needs to hook up a little bit of a better lap to just about try and clips onto the back of the top 4 there, and he's on his lap. Up the hill he goes. He's not one off his fastest time. Let's see if he can clinch it back in the 2nd and 3rd sector though. And if you are watching the chat, do come and say hi. Do not be shy to comment. It'd be nice to have a little bit of a chat with you. I've got no co-coms recently. Bliss has given up on the commentary front, but you know, just have a chat with anyone about anything they want. What who are you looking to think will impress, and yeah, just anything. Come say hi. But with 3.5 minutes left to go in the session, then Dew is your original pole man, followed by Walker. Jonathan Cox running off the podium places in P3. He's literally only a 10th and a half off pole when it's very, very close up the front. Literally only less than a half a tenth back is P4 with Cyril Ferg. LH44 in P5, lad in P6, unless he improves on his lap. Across the line he goes. It's a 103.1, which just about improves him to P5, just on the cusp of that top 4 battle when he's in P5. So LH44 dropped down to 6th, Extremist in 7th, Alex Ham in P8, Brabbit in P9, Optics in P10, who's currently on a lap 7 seconds off his time, iStreams YT in P11, Sozenbat in P12, DFRO Hazard in a provisional P13. P14, Drew in P15, Big Macca in P16, and Crovey in P17. Bagos not really doing what Red Bull would want to be doing here at the Red Bull Ring, but Jonathan Cox definitely making up for it. Cyril Ferg is the first of the top 4 combatants to get back up on his lap. And those lockups will not be doing his tyres any good. Looks like Dew has fitted a fresh set, so he's looking to go out as well. It looks like Ferg is at the front of this little battle we have going on for pole. Don't count out Louis Ladd or LH44, who are both very, very close then to these guys. And says Dew is in the pits. He is in the pits. Walker just moving out the way. But we'll go on board then with Cyril Ferg, who's looking to set up his lap and make a claim for pole position. He only needs about a 10th and a half, maybe 2 tenths to securely claim that pole position at the moment. So across the line he goes then to start the lap. He's currently on a 103.0. Coming across then, looks like my game just decides to span out and give me a driver that I'm definitely not clicking on. But up the hill he goes then. He's on a pretty good lap. Is Cyril Ferg, and up the hill he goes then into turn 3, braking as late as he dares then, and using all the energy recovery system he has available, coming out of turn 3 then, and down the second DRS straight here at the Red Bull Ring. And let's hope, you know, he could definitely make a stake for pole position into turn 4 then. Bit of a lock-up, but he's managed to carry the momentum and get a pretty nice exit then, has Cyril Ferg, and into the infill section he goes then. Jonathan Cox and Dew both on their outlaps as well. They're going to get one shot at the pole position lap times then. Cyril Ferg is just about going to manage to get get up there. I think it's because I'm pushing down on my pedals. That's probably why it's doing that. But through the penultimate corner, then Ferg goes. He's attacking it as much as he can. Then through the final corner, Dearthro Hazard has retired from the session. Across the line, has Ferg improved? He's up to a 2:02.7, but it was invalidated. It was an invalidated lap time, so he's going to have to go again. Walker then on his lap as well. He looks like he's backed out. As he invalidated it, but Ferg then, who was definitely up on his time, 3/10 up on his time. He has the pace there. He's caught up to a bit of traffic though. It's going to give him a bit of tow. Hopefully they move out of the way for him though, and it looks like they are very nicely going to move out of the way for Cyril Ferg, who is looking to make a claim for pole position. He went with a provisional time of the 1:02.7, which would have been good enough for pole position had he not invalidated it. Jonathan Cox as well setting his lap time, starting his lap. Jewel as well across the final corner to start his lap, and Louis Ladd as well on that lap. He's not going to make it. He's not going to make another lap, is Louis, but Ferg, we're riding on board with him. Let's see how much he's up. He's half a tenth up into the second sector. Let's see how much he can attack this last sector and set up potentially for a very nice lap. He's half a tenth up. Half a tenth will topple Jonathan Cox just about as it stands. Across the line, does Ferg go? Is it invalidated lap? No, it's not an invalidated lap. Across the line, it's a 1:02.9. It just about topples Jonathan Cox. That's going to be his. He's going to get another lap just about. Walker then, he's half a tenth down. He's a tenth down on his time. He needs to get this done. This is going to be his final lap. The checker flag is waved. Any lap up will not be counted. As well on his lap. Let's see how he's doing further back. He's just behind Walker, and Jewel, Walker comes into the pits, then Jewel as well on a pretty good lap. Jonathan Cox then rounds the final couple of corners. He's a 2/10 down on his time. Is it not going to be good enough for pole? Across the line he comes then. Is it pole? No. And he hasn't quite managed to get it. Is he going to go for another lap? Is he allowed another lap? I'm not too sure. It says the checker flag would have been dropped, but Jewel has come into the pits as well. He's going to call it a day. He hasn't got the time to do that. Ferg as well on another lap. It looks like he's backed out as well. So we've not had the dramatic finish for pole that we'd hoped for, but that was everyone's final laps. Done and dusted, and your grid very, very close times at the front. As it seems, it looks like we've still got a couple of people on our lap though. Have we? Extremist YT, is he looking to set a lap? No, he looks like to be going pretty slowly. Brabbit's off the track. Optics into the pits. iStreams YT is low on fuel. It doesn't look like he's going to be setting a lap either. So it looks as though that is it for qualifying, unless LH44 is on a lap. It looks like he is. He's given it everything, unless he pulls into the pits. No, he's given it everything. He's taken it to the line. Can LH44 improve on his time? Across the line he comes. Then it's a 1:02.3. It's a 1:03.2, and it's just off Louis Ladd, and secures him a P6 position then in today's race. But that is qualifying done and dusted. Then your grid for today's race. Jewel, last week's race winner, on pole with a very quick time of the 1:02.8. It's just close behind is Walker with a 1:02.8 as well. Cyril Ferg in third with a 1:02.989. Very, very close times at the front. Jonathan Cox just creeping into the 1:02s by a thousandth of a second in P4. Louis Ladd with an impressive showing up in P5, just outside of the top. LH44 with an the Red Bull Ring puts it P6. Alex Ham, podium sitter in P7. Extremist YT in 8th. Brabbit in 9. Dearthro Hazard in P10, rounding off the top 10. First of the free choice runners are Optics in P11, Streams in P12, Sozin in P13, Bagos in P14, Drew in P15, Big Macca in P16, and Crovi down in P17. He'll be rounding off the grid once again for an RRC race. He does like his last to first challenges. Let's see what he can do in the race. Turn 1, obviously it's not the shortest run, it's not the longest run, but it is a pretty tight corner. That's not that much of a heavy braking zone, so it definitely will be interesting to see what overtakes we can see get done. But you will on pole, only literally 36 thousandths of a second, or 36 hundredths of a second off pole position. It could have just been getting on that power that little bit earlier, but as is the case in racing, you know, any little bit left on the table is going to cost you, and that has cost Walker pole position today. He's currently 6P2, but yeah, it looks like we've got a very exciting race on our hands. The pace looks very close, and obviously with strategy, potentially weather playing an impact as well. Maybe weather is taking an impact. That's why everyone's gone onto the softs. We don't know. We haven't seen the weather forecast for today's race, so it may be a wet race after the overcast conditions of qualifying, or I'm completely wrong, and it's just the normal Sunday drive in the clear Styrian skies here at the Red Bull Ring. Hopefully for everyone's sake, that it's going to be a dry race. It looks like it is going to be a clear sky dry race, so any hope we had of a wet race is completely and utterly gone. We obviously saw a wet qualifying actually rained off in 2020 here at the Styrian Mountains. But yeah, just while everyone, you know, is readying up and choosing their strategy, it could definitely play an impact. Can the track temperature on your tyres, on your on everything really, brake temps, tyre temps, all make that little extra difference when it comes to choosing your tyre wear when you come into the pits. And obviously, very fuel demanding track is this circuit, with a lot of and a lot of heavy braking zones that to pull away from quickly. So it is a very fuel demanding circuit. Are people going to put that little extra fuel in to run Rich Mix a little extra longer in today's race? But yeah, anything can definitely happen. There's a lot of variables, especially in motorsport and especially in esports commentary. There's just a lot of stuff going on and a lot of variables that could definitely play into the mix. But Jewel then leads us on to the formation lap. We'll get the telemetry and lap data up for you. Maybe not telemetry. We'll get telemetry up actually. And detail will go for position changes just for lap 1. So Jewel leads us on the formation lap. He'll be starting on pole position, followed by Walker, who rocks off the front row. Cyril has shown a good showing at the moment in P1 and 3. Cyril Ferg then in P3. Jonathan Cox, the reigning champion, and the Red Bull at the Red Bull Ring in P4. Louis Ladd in the Ferrari having a nice showing in P5. LH44 in P6, and the AlphaTauri definitely a good showing for himself. Alex Ham in P7, Extremist YT in P8, Brabbit P9, DFRO Hazard in P10. He will not be getting a free choice of tyre. Optics, however, will be. He'll be starting in P11 and definitely in a very good position to command a strong midfield charge. iStreams YT in P12 as well. Sotton Pat in P13, Bagos in P14, Giroux in P15, Big Macker in P16, and Crovey looking pretty good in P17. And just while I do that, I think of saving the video clip, because that would be a very good idea as we get started for today's race. I'm looking to make a highlight reel, so would not be good and look good on me if I forgot to record it. But just while we get started for today's race, then press record. So we're all good, and no need to worry. And hopefully I've got enough space on my PlayStation to support that. But Jewel just getting the final stages of warming his car up done. You can see that by weaving to get a bit of friction and warm up the tyres up for a good clean start. Everyone, it looks like, is on the soft tyre. Let's have a little look-see. Tyre, everyone has opted for the soft compound tyre, so looks like strategy won't be playing too much of a factor. Potentially an overcut or undercut could look pretty good. But everyone lining up to the lights then as we get ready for lights out here at Austria. The predicted pit stop strategy then, a one-stop soft to medium or one-stop soft to hard. F1 Insights powered by AWS, giving us a nice little insight to the strategy. So it looks like they'll be pitting around the lap 13 area, but 36 laps of the Austrian circuit, and it's getting ready for lights out now. Jewel will lead us away. We're getting ready for that little green flag message at the back. We go to the lights and we've got a nice high angle. We go to the 5 lights and it is lights out very quickly here at Austria. No one's moved. Have we got lights yet, or no? We're getting ready now. And it is lights out, and away we go then, and it's a good start from Jewel then, who leads the way from Walker, who's trying to get in into the position. Jonathan Cox under pressure though. He's had a pretty poor start. He's been swamped by the Ferrari and AlphaTauri behind him though, and into the lead goes Walker then through turn 1. Jewel is under pressure from Ferg coming into turn 3. Ferg to the outside then, trying to make some early ground. Jewel has not had the start he wanted. They were going 3 abreast further back. Jewel on the inside looking to make up some ground, and Ferg with a great move then to swamp Jewel, and Jonathan Cox under pressure from the AlphaTauri, who's made a good start up into P4. Ferg then on the back of Walker. Cyril Jewel, who has not had the start he wanted. Jonathan Cox and LH44 looking to make a move. LH44 down the inside then from 6th to 3rd. He's had a great start. Up the inside he's going to go. Jewel leaves him to hang around the outside though, and he's going to have the pressure on. Jonathan Cox lurking in the background. He's had a pretty poor start around the outside. Can the AlphaTauri get it stuck? No. Jonathan Cox looking to make up some moves further back. It looks like there's an Alfa Romeo off the track. Sozin is off the track. There's going to be yellow flags. It looks like he's brought the Red Bull with him. Absolute calamity then for the Red Bull pairing, and Jewel just trying to find his pace, re-evaluate the race and try and get back into his rhythm then, and get ready to make a charge up for the race lead. He's down 2 positions off lap 1 then, and Walker leads the way very good start then, managing to take pole position after a confusing lights out. But LH44 then, he's going to have the slipstream, he's going to have the DRS, and not DRS, he's going to have the ERS to try and make a charge, but he's going to be looking backwards. Bagros has left the session, so not the greatest showing for him. He's under pressure though. The AlphaTauri, Jonathan Cox to the outside, he goes to the outside to turn 3. LH44 looking up the inside, he's desperately trying to hang on, but it looks like Jonathan Cox has managed to get his rhythm back, and LH44 has looked backwards, and he's being overtaken by the Red Bull of Jonathan Cox, who looks to try and get back in front of Jewel. It'd be interesting to see how many DRS trains we see in today's race. It looks like a pretty long one. Louis Ladd down one position as well. He's going to be looking to get back in front of LH44, but he's got Optics on his tail, who has Alex on his tail further back. Surprised we haven't seen the safety car. We usually see a safety car at this stage in the race, but Ferg trying to stick in that DRS of Walker. Obviously, when we get to lap 3, we will have DRS enabled, and Walker will be the one that is struggling the most. He's got a lot of ERS to use, though. Cyril Ferg using a lot of it to try and get the most out of his car and try and stay in the DRS range. Alex Hammond Optics, though, looking very close. Walker then sets the fastest lap. Jonathan Cox sets the fastest lap with the 106.420, and with DRS now enabled, they come through the detection point. Further up, is Jonathan Cox then going to be close enough to make a charge on Jewel? It doesn't look like he's going to be. So further down then, have we got any overtakes? Alex Ham looking to get past Optics, his teammate. Doesn't look like he has the speed. Is Optics going to be close enough to Louis Ladd? No, it looks like we've got a massive DRS train forming, and doesn't look like we'll be seeing too many overtakes if it stays this way. But Ferg, he's got DRS coming down the 3rd DRS straight. Is it going to be enough? He pulls to the inside. He's not close enough on this occasion, but this DRS is definitely helping him keep with the leaders. We've now got a 4, 5, 6 car train then for the race leader. Everyone so close, so patched together. And Ferg looking to try and get into that contention for the race lead. Jewel trying to recover and get some redemption. Walker, though, he's the first to get a 3-second time penalty. He's only 3 laps into this race, and I told you time penalties are going to make a massive impact in today's race. Further down, though, we've got Soz and Pat, who went off at this very corner on the lap previously, managing to get back up into P14. But as we round off lap 3, Ferg is looking to get past Walker. He's not quite going to be close enough on this occasion. LH44 is the second man to get a time penalty. He's now got 3 seconds added on to his race time at the end as well. Through turn 1 he goes then. Ferg just needs to get a nice little exit, and he saved up a lot of ERS. So has Walker, who's got nearly a full battery to expend. He's knowing he's going to need to put on a defence. He knows he's going to be under pressure, so he's saving up all the battery. There's yellow flags through sector 2, is it? Big Mac are off towards the back of the grid, but you can see how close Ferg has gotten then. And on the run then, he's going to look to make a move for the race lead. Jonathan Cox lurking in the background to see if there's any contact. Jewel as well, definitely within a shout. He's not quite going to be close enough on this occasion. He hasn't got that overspeed. He just needs to set up a nice exit. If Walker gets a bit of a slide, he can definitely go for a move into the infield section. Not quite managing to launch an attack for the race lead at the moment. Optics, though, very close to Louis Ladd. There's a migrating host. Is there Toon Fan has left the session, so it looks like the host has left finally after the race has gotten going. Big Mac has left the session as well, so it looks like he's packed his bags and left for today's race. And hopefully Jonathan Cox can definitely put on a good show here at the Red Bull Ring for us all today. He's currently in P4, but further up, it looks like Walker got a bit swamped off the exit of the final corner, and Ferg inherits the lead then. So Walker is now on the back foot, but he's got a lot of ERS to expend. Walker has less than Ferg at the moment, but he's going to have DRS coming down this back main straight. Jewel looking to get a move done as well. He's going to be close enough in the DRS. He's got the slipstream as well. Ferg under pressure then. Is he going to go defensive into turn 3? Walker sends up the inside as late as he dares on the brakes. Up the inside he goes. Ferg locks up. He's going to give him the space on the outside. Ferg fighting this race lead. And as we come down this 3rd DRS straight, Walker re-inherits the race lead then from Ferg, who's definitely looking to make a late move up the inside into turn 4. He's not quite going to be close enough. Jewel lurking in the background with Jonathan Cox there as well. And LH44, we got a 5-car train then for the race lead. Any one of these guys could win it, and this is definitely going to be playing into the hands of Ferg and Jewel and Walker, who if they don't stop battling, then a lot more people will definitely be closing in on this train. And further back, LH44 is spun. He's spun round, he's hit the wall, and he's in the barrier coming off the turn 7 corner there, and he's definitely not what he's want to be doing. He got a bit caught up on the curb, and that's going to be an extra driver out of this fight for the race lead. So it looks like that's a bit of pressure alleviated off Jonathan Cox's shoulders, who's only got 35% ERS already. He's fighting so hard to stay within this little train. It looks like further back, Ice Dreams YT has had a bit of a spin as well, so he's not going to be looking too good and potentially could have damage and have to come into the pits. Luckily for LH44, he can pit now and not have to go an extra lap. But for the race lead, Ferg looking up the inside, he's going to have to lock up, nearly touching the back of that Haas, who's currently in the race lead, and it's still a 4-car train. Jonathan Cox, if he gets a good exit, could launch an attack on Jewel, but the thing with being behind is the guy in front has ERS to defend with and DRS to defend with as well, so it's going to be even harder for the guys behind to make a move. His best bet would definitely just be to let Ferg do all the work, send Walker offline, try and basil Walker and sort of confuse him and sort of get him offline and try and follow him through, and that's if Ferg can launch an attack. He's inherited the race lead once, but Walker immediately definitely just managed to get back in front and just inherited the race lead once again. He's holding his nerve very well. He's got 4 very, very quick drivers, all within a second of him, all within that DRS range. So it is very, very close up at the front. Further back, have we got any drivers looking to go for a move? Jonathan Cox still looking to get past Jewel for the podium places. Further back, though, it looks like Alex Hammer's on the back of his teammates, still in this little DRS train. But further back, Ferg has allowed a monster launch off the first corner and has got past Walker before the braking zone, and Walker's having to tuck back in. He's going to have DRS down this third DRS straight as well, and Jewel looking to go up the inside as well. He's not quite going to be doing that. Jonathan Cox goes very deep on the brakes and could lose out from Louis Ladd, who's now in the DRS, but gets a very shaky exit, could lose that straight away. Walker then in the DRS, he's looking desperate to get back into the race lead. Ferg defends, looking back on the racing line though, and Ferg has managed to get into the race lead. Walker hasn't managed to launch an attack straight away, so he's going to have to stay with him and wait for the next DRS straight. He just needs to stay within 1 second through this infield section, which shouldn't be too hard for Walker, who set the purple who went second in qualifying. Looks like Streams has had another off coming out of turn 3. Very easy to do. It's an uphill traction zone, so it's definitely not easy on those rear tyres. But Walker then, who looks to try and reclaim the race lead. Looks like Jewel and Jonathan Cox are slowly starting to fall back as this race progresses. Walker though, right on the back of him, he's just about now within DRS. He's in that DRS range. He's got 4 tenths and it's closing down very quickly. They've got an extra 20k and he's almost pushing Ferg through turn 1. He just needs a good launch off this corner, but it looks like he hasn't got that, so he could be under pressure from Jewel then, who's in the slipstream and got ERS. He's not using his overtake button though. It could be Wiseman. Potentially he's just waiting for Jewel to do the work for him, Walker to do the work for him, get back up to Ferg. If they start battling, Ferg is just going to pull away, so it's not going to be the wisest thing to start battling. Walker doesn't think that though, so he's going to be to the inside, back to the outside after he realises he isn't going to go for it. But Ferg with a lot of lockups, Crovey with a 3-second time penalty, a lot of drivers with a time penalty though. Walker is the only one of our top 4 to have one at the moment. We've got a comment. He's the only one to have a time penalty at the moment though. Ferg leads the way then, and is looking to hang on to that as he comes through the first of the lap cars. Walker still just about hanging in that DRS range. Jonathan Cox looking to get on the back. Louis Ladd as well as an outside shout. He's just about hanging in with DRS range there as well. He's not got a lot of ERS to use though. Jonathan Cox trying to save his ERS for a bit of a fight later on. He's going to be in the DRS of Jewel, but as is the case with a lot of DRS trains, it is very difficult to be overtaken. That's why you see a lot of close gaps, but no real overtaking. But it is very close, and any mistake could be very, very costly here up the front. Here up the front, Walker though still trying to just hang in with Ferg, who seems to have just managed to hold his nerve. And Walker though, he's got a bit shaky off the exit of turn 3. He's going to be straight to the inside to try and defend his lead. Walker straight to the outside. He's desperate now. He sees his chance. He needs to capitalise off this mistake, and he soars around the outside then of Ferg up into the race lead once again. But Ferg isn't going to give this up easy. He's going to look to the inside into the infield section. It's not going to be the wisest move to make at the moment, so he's going to sit back and wait for DRS once again. Walker inherits the race lead and made the most and capitalised off any mistakes Ferg did make. Optics still on the back of Alex Ham. The racing points looking rather good in P6 and 7. They currently sit P2 in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. Who's the other commentator? He ditched me for Siege, unfortunately. So, but Jonathan Cox on the back of Jewel then, who did start pole, but he's not having the best race start. He's still in P3. Louis Ladd with a 3-second time penalty. He's the first of the top 5 to get one. Who do I think is the best driver? Any of the top 4 really. They are showing very good pace and they're very, very even. It does depend on the track and the circuit. But Jonathan Cox looking to get a good exit and get up into the podium places here at the Red Bull Ring. He hasn't quite got the exit he needs though, and Jewel with DRS has managed to defend that quite well. Ferg on the back of Walker for the race lead as well. very, very close, and it's just one by one, just a conga line really up the front. Extremist YT looking to go to the outside of Optics for P7, is going to try and set up a quick switchback maneuver and get up the inside. Optics straight to the inside for the infield section. This could allow Extremist YT to soar around the outside. He's going to try and get the foot down, but Optics claims the racing line and hangs on. Brabbit as well close behind. This is a 3-car train for P7. P7 down to P9 at the moment, and Extremist YT on the back of Optics. He had the pressure on him. Jonathan Cox though on the back of Jewel. He's tried to set up a good exit, hasn't quite had the run through the last couple of corners as he wanted to. He's still hanging there in DRS though. We're on a lap 11 of 36, about halfway, a third of the way through this race, and it's still all to play for. Brabbit though looking to get past Extremist YT as well, and Jonathan Cox looked like he's fallen off the front of this back a little bit more. He's not got a lot of ERS to use to stay with him though. A lot of the front, all above 50%, and there's Jonathan Cox with 35% ERS. He's trying his hardest to stick with him, but as soon as that ERS battery's run out, he's going to be falling behind to the likes of Louis Ladd and potentially Alex Ham, who could have an outside shout if he plays the strategy right. Ferg with a massive lockup once again through turn 4. That's not going to be doing his tyres any good for Ferg, who looks to make a claim for the race lead. He's already inherited twice, but Walker has pounced back on both occasions to manage to reclaim the race lead. It looks like Extremist YT once again looking to the outside for the first of the infield sections. Not quite going to materialise into anything good. He's going to try and set up a cup into the next left hand. It looks like he can't quite get there. Jonathan Cox though, he's closed back onto the back of G-Will for the podium place. He's just about hanging in there. He saved a little bit of ERS to try and expend potentially on an attack of G-Will, who is looking pretty good, and he's trying to get back onto the back of Ferg, but any battling that isn't for the race lead is just going to cost him time. And if Walker can break out of that DRS range, the pace he has is definitely going to allow him to try and soar up in front, and hopefully that doesn't happen. But Extremist YT into the pit lane, he's the first to react, as well as Optics. They're both in on lap 12 for hard compound tyre. Looks like Extremist YT and the Williams pit crew have fitted, what tyre is that? Have they fitted? It looks like Extremist YT and the Williams pit crew have fitted the medium compound tyre then, so that is very interesting strategy for him. He's going to be looking to take those medium tyres for 24 laps. That's a very big ask of those medium tyres, but if he can try and nurse them, he definitely could try and do that. Or he's going for a 2-stop strategy, be aggressive and try and get it. Potentially if there's a safety car as well, could play into his hands. Will on the back of Ferg though, who's lost a little bit of time to Walker up in front, who's now broken the gap to 6/10. He needs to make the most of these infield sections, does Ferg, and he needs to try and get back onto the back of Walker, who's slowly creeping out of DRS range. He's got a lot more ERS to use. Energy recovery system, if you don't know, is an energy recovery system. So when they brake, as you see now, all that kinetic and heat energy transferred from the brakes is then transferred to a motor, which gives them an extra 140 brake horsepower, and you can see Jewel is making the most of that brake horsepower. But Walker looking slow, so Ferg is going to have a look to the outside for the race lead once again, to the outside of turn 3. Walker gives him the space. He's all over the curb though. He can't quite get the power down. This could give Jewel the run on the back of Ferg, but Walker straight to the inside, and Ferg looking to the outside for turn 4. It's going to be a very difficult move to make. He's got the overspeed. There's a head going into the corner. How late can he break a bit of a lockup? Walker goes in deep as well. Can Jewel set up a cutback? He's got a great cutback on Ferg up into P2 then. Very opportunistic move from Jewel. He finds himself up into P2. Ferg just got a little bit caught up on the exit, and Jewel made the most of that. A great switchback maneuver, and he finds himself on the back of Walker to try and re-inherit his race lead that he had from pole position. And Ferg down into P3 then. That is not the lead attack that he wanted to. That did not materialise very well for him. It looks like going to be coming into the pit this lap then. It looks like those soft tyres have died. Walker into the pits as well as Jonathan Cox. So CRL Jewel stays out for an extra lap. He's going to be looking to go for an overcut. He pits a lap later. Hopefully Walker, Ferg and Jonathan Cox all behind have a bit of a crash, and that could allow Jewel to inherit a race lead pretty much for free. He hasn't got a penalty, unlike most of the field, which now has a penalty apart from the rest of the top 4. Most of the field now having his penalty, but Jewel then, this is a crucial lap for him. Ferg comes out just behind Walker, Jonathan Cox, and it looks like they've all fitted the medium fresh medium tyres then, compared to Jewel's 13 lap old softs. And Jonathan Cox straight out of the pit lane has DRS. He's got a run on Ferg potentially for that net P3 position. On Ferg up the inside, can he get it into turn 3? Not quite. Walker's managed to extend his lead a little bit, but he's gone deep into turn 3. So Walker managing to extend the lead. Ferg just getting a little bit caught up on the exit, but Jonathan Cox can't quite capitalise that. Drew in the other Renault a little bit further down. He hasn't stopped yet, and most of the field now has peeled into the pit lane, presumably for that medium tyre. Most of them on the medium tyre. A couple have opted in for that soft and hard tyre as well. Alternate strategies going on. They'll definitely have the fresher tyres towards the end of the race. Is Jewel going to come into the pits on this lap then? No, he's going to eke out another lap, potentially just to try and make that medium stint a little bit easier for him. But Jonathan Cox on of Cyril Ferg can't quite close the gap as well as he wants. Alex Hammer's not 300ths back. He's quite far back, actually, probably a few seconds. But Cyril Ferg just about to hang out into the DRS. There's a spinner up in front. Who is that? It looks like Optics. Is it Optics? No. But he loses the position to Extremis YT, who on the medium tyre has managed to get back in front of their rival. So he's up in to P8. And now P8 now after Brabant has pit. Louis Ladd comes out in P5, a few seconds back on our top four, who are very, very close together, pushing each other through once again. Now with 10 people watching, thank you guys so much for watching. But Walker then 18 seconds back on Jewel, who is just about managing to keep those soft tyres alive. Very much respect to him. He's using a lot of ERS on this lap, so he definitely is pushing. He's trying to eke out as much of a gap as he can. It looks like he's going to be coming into the pits. Then he's gone for a 2-lap overcut. It works out from Jewel into the pit lane. Then he's definitely going to be fitting those medium tyres. It's only a 20-lap ask of those medium tyres, so he's definitely going to have the fresher tyres. The rest of the top four though are looking very, very quick, and he definitely could lose out a little bit of time. The main thing he doesn't want to lose though is that DRS. If he loses that DRS, he's now coming out. He's out of the box as they're rounding the turn, last corner. Close Walker. He's coming through into turn one as Jewel's coming out of the pit. Exit line is very, very close. He's just about lost a few positions. He's going to come out just in front of Walker, but there's a safety car as Jewel comes into the pit, so that is very, very poorly timed. If he stayed out one more lap, he'd have easily inherited the race lead, but this could definitely trigger a lot of pit stops then. What was the DNF that caused it? Why is the safety car out? Is there any debris on the track? Is there any spinners that are looking to come into the pits? It looks like iStreams YT has lost the front wing there of his Haas F1 car, and that could have definitely, the debris from that could definitely have caused the safety car to be deployed. So we've now got a safety car on lap 16. Jewel, probably the worst time for it to be called for Jewel. If he'd have just stayed out one more lap, he definitely would have capitalised on the strategy a lot more. But that safety car has saved him from losing the momentum down the straight for Jewel and Ferg and Jonathan Cox. If it did stay at racing speed, he probably would have lost out to those two. So he's managed to hold on to that P2 position he came into the pits with, and he got fresher tyres for the end of the race, which could definitely play a factor. But just while the safety car is waiting for the leader, you can see just stopped on the second DRS, waiting for our leader Walker to come round, get picked up. So on the safety, very nice start. It's very, very close up at the front of the field, has it been. So it's been very, very close up the top of the field. A very, very long DRS train. 4 cars all fighting for the race lead. It looks like iStreams has retired from the session. Looks like he's just packed his bags and given up in the pit lane. Big Mac and Bagos as well as left the lobby, so they've called it a day as well. But yeah, very, very chaotic start then from the start. We've also got another comment in the chat, so let's have a quick read of that as well. CT Games, how can I join? So you can join this. You can give Stringy a message. I can definitely pick it up. If you give me your PSN or anything, mate, I can definitely put a word in for you. Definitely put a word in for you if you're sort of half decent on the Formula 1 game and looking to get into some very clean racing, as we see here in RRC. Very, very good racing from everyone. But yeah, it's how can I? So you just give any of the RRC guys a message. I can definitely give you their Discord. If you're interested in giving them a message on Discord, there's a Discord chat run. So if you want to put your you want to give it a chat. It looks like Crowley's been given a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, there you go. We've got an admin in the chat and an extra commentator as well. So Seb Boa in the chat, a fellow commentator of mine in the chat, and he's offering to give you a hand, mate. So if you want to just pop him a message, and he can sort you out, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun in RRC. It's a very good league, one I very much enjoy commentating on and bringing the action for. It's a very, very close competitive league. Is RRC? It's very close, very competitive, and it's definitely given me a run for my money on on the com side of things, and I'm sure Seb can agree with me there. It's very chaotic at times, but when it pays off, it's a great little bit of racing that we've seen today with Ferg, Jewel, Walker, and Jonathan Cox all fighting for the race lead. Well, Discord is CT Games _official. So yeah, just pop them all a message, mate, and I'm sure we'll see you on the grid at some point very soon. Some very quick drivers in this league. Though this is probably the best of the best in RRC. We've got Walker, Jewel, Ferg, Jonathan Cox, Louis Ladd. All of these guys are very quick on this game. Very close. All we saw in qualifying, only a 10th and a half off each other. Thanks a lot. No worries, mate. Pleasure to help. But it looks like safety car is in this lap. After all of that, the safety car is in this lap. So Walker becomes your effective safety car. He is the one that controls the pace. That's why he's the effective safety car. He controls the pace of the pack. He backs them all the way up to allow the safety car to get a bit of a gap and come into the pit lane, because obviously when they punch it, they're a lot faster than the safety car, obviously. So they don't want to punch it now, otherwise they're just going to come into the back of the safety car. But Walker can back them all the way up until the timing line. He can punch it whenever he wants. The thing he can't do is he can't go and stop. Once he's committed to going, he has to go, because if he just suddenly smacks on his brakes, everyone at the back, as we saw at he looks like he's punched it though. He's punched it very early. We saw at the Tuscan Grand Prix, very big pile up towards the back, and that's what it can cause. But he's punched it very early, caught everyone off guard, and we go back to green flag racing. And Jonathan Cox looking to get up some positions. He's not had the best restart as he wanted to. Further back, Optics looking to get past Extremist YT. Doesn't look like he's going to have the run he needs though. Coming in to turn 1 and up the hill into turn 3, he can definitely have a little look if he's got the ERS and slipstream. Jewel looking to close the gap to Walker, who managed really good commanding start off the race restart. And back, LH44 making some ground up on Soz and Pat. He's looking to make a move for Drew as well. Around the outside he goes, then LH44 around the side, outside the Renault, and very good move then from LH44 for P10. Back up into the points then is the AlphaTauri, looking for a very nice recovery drive, and we won't have DRS for another 3 laps. We won't have DRS for another 3 laps, but he could definitely stay with him in the slipstream. It will keep these guys close together just about, but this is Walker's chance now. Now they haven't got DRS to try and pull up that 1 second gap, because as soon as he's out of ERS range, he can definitely start make some indents. And Soz and Pat looking to get past Drew for P11 as well, but Cyril Ferg looking to get back up into that P2. That was cruelly nicked from him from Ferg. He got a lovely little switchback manoeuvre on Ferg, and Jewel finds himself up into P2. He's 6 tenths back on our race leader though. He needs to start pushing. Walker with almost a full battery. He hasn't expected any ERS at the moment. Soz and Pat going around the outside of DFRO. Hazard into turn 1. It's going to be a tricky move to make. They go side by side through turn 1. There's a bit of contact though, and Hazard has sent wide. He's sent almost spinning, but he's managed to bring it back. That's going to leave him under pressure from Crovey, who's going to be looking to make a move as well. It's not quite going to be enough unless he goes for an audacious send into turn 3. He's going to be as late as he does, has a little look, but isn't quite going to be enough. But DFRO Hazard and Soz and Pat definitely flirting with disaster there, and that was not what they wanted. Hazard's heart definitely in his mouth then, flirting with disaster. And yeah, very close. Side by side through turn 1 at Austria is something you do not want to be doing. It's very tricky to do, and that definitely could have ended a lot worse. But he managed to get going again. He only lost a position to Sozin, so luckily not too bad. Extremist YT picks up himself a 3-second time penalty. We're going to cross this line, and we will have DRS re-enabled. I hope DRS is enabled. Walker still with the 3-second time penalty though, so as it stands, he will fall to the back of the top 5, maybe even top 6 as well. 1 second, 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds. Yeah, he will fall outside the top 6 with the 3-second time penalty, which could cost him quite a lot. Jewel just has to stick within that 3-second range, and he will find himself a double race winner though. Still 2/3 through the race, and all still to play for. He's got the DRS. He's got to the rest of the race to still try and get it back on track. He's got the fresher tyres, which will help him towards the latter stages of the race. Jonathan Cox on the back of Cyril Ferg. Once again, he's managed to save up a little bit of ERS that he expended in the first stint. Still losing a lot of it though. And Hazard finds himself back in front of Drew. Further back, it looks like Drew potentially made a bit of a mistake. He's on the outside of turn 4 though. Not quite being able to get the power down, and pinched on the curb a little bit. AH44 looking to get past Brabbit. He's on a recovery drive and has a lot of pace against these midfield guys. But Jonathan Cox as well pushing Cyril Ferg through the final couple of corners. Not quite going to be enough, and if he does get past us, it's not going to be too wise. as he'll only lose the DRS to the guys in front. Extremist YT looking to get back on the back of Alex Ham, who's looking to get on the back of Louis, who is just about now joining the DRS train that is the top 4, and he's going to become the top 5. So Louis Ladd definitely with an outside shout of winning this race potentially if he keeps it clean. He has got a 3-second time penalty to negotiate with though. But Jewel just needs a really good launch off this corner to get the DRS. He needs to expend his ERS if he wants to get past. He's not, so it looks like he's just sticking behind. He's chilling behind Walker. He doesn't want to expend any ERS at this stage. He's probably just waiting for a late attack in the race. He's probably just going to sit behind, save up his all ERS, and launch an attack towards the end of the race. That's why we see no one really using their overtake button on the straight. So that could definitely be a reason. He could just be bottling all of it up and getting ready to launch an attack late in the race. But Louis Ladd is now back on the back of Jonathan Cox. He's about half his battery to use. He is sticking with him. Jonathan Cox on the back of Ferg. So very, very close then. Up the front, Brabbit as well in A844 looking really close. Optics under pressure from both of them, and he hasn't got the best run off that final corner, so Optics is going to be under pressure further up. It is still really close. We'll check back with them on the track map. We'll keep a close eye on them, but Optics on the hard tyre is under pressure from Brabbit, who's on the fresher medium tyres. Optics to the inside. It's going to be pointless defending though, but Brabbit to the outside he goes then into turn 3. He's going to be as late as he dares on the brakes. His Optics, he's going to stick his nose in up the inside. It's all going to be for nothing though as Brabbit soars around the outside. This is going to leave Optics under pressure from the AlphaTauri, who's managed to get a really, really good run around the outside and soars around the outside. So Optics defending has just cost him 2 positions. He's going to be as late as he dares on the brakes though, and it's not going to be for much. He sticks his nose in but can't quite get the power down he needs, so he's going to be down into P10. He's got 4 seconds back to falling out of the points playing positions though, so he should be okay as long as he keeps it consistent. Those hard tyres definitely not doing him any good. His Optics, but if he can just stick in the DRS of LH44 and Brabbit. LH44 looking to get back on the Brabbit, who's only 2.5 seconds off P7 and looking to try and make his way back up. LH44 after spinning, after being in contention for at least a podium earlier in the race, finds himself P9 and are definitely on a recovery drive as he looks to make his claim. But Ferg very, very shaky out of turn 1 then. This is going to leave him under pressure from Jonathan Cox. He sees him as his chance to get onto the podium in a Red Bull. He's going to back out though, and he's not going to go for the move. He's not quite close enough, going it pretty deep. This could give Louis Ladd the run he needs to get in on the action as well, but Jonathan Cox does not want to go for the run there. He's going to expend all of his ERS. Jewel as well looking to get past Walker. Walker looking pretty slow. He's not expending any ERS. Jewel had a little look, but Jonathan Cox not quite managed to make his attack materialise into anything. Ferg getting off lucky then after that bit of a shaky exit. There's yellow flags through sector 2. It looks like someone spun up once again. It looks like Crovy's gone round. Yeah, it looks like Crovy's gone round at the turn 3 chicane. Hairpin, not much he wanted to do. Optics picks himself up another 3-second time penalty. Brabbit has managed to close the gap to Alex Ham by about a second. LH44 coming with him. So these two on a very, very convincing charge up towards the back of the midfield. The likes of Extremist and Alex. So they could definitely be up there in P6 and 7 if they just keep themselves consistent. Brabbit almost in the DRS of Alex Ham then, and LH44 just sitting behind him, potentially just trying to go with him. But let's see, then he's a lot closer on this occasion. He's got the DRS, he's going to expend his DRS then, and he's going to be trying to make the move on this occasion for P8. He could try and let Brabbit drive up to the back of him with him, but he's not close enough, so all that ERS was left in vain. And the Louis Ladd looking to still try and get past Jonathan Cox. There's still a 5-man trainer as Walker leads the way. But as it stands, he's not managing to pull out that 3-second lead that he needs. So the 3-second lead, Jewel, Ferg, Jonathan Cox and Louis Ladd all know. They all know he's got a 3-second time penalty. Louis Ladd also with a 3-second time penalty as well. Yeah, it's only 3 seconds. So Jewel knows he doesn't need to launch too much of an attack. If he launches an attack and it comes off worse, he could definitely see himself behind Ferg and Jonathan Cox. So he knows he's got the strategy. Of course, he'd like to win it on track. Brabbit, though, has managed to close in on Alex Ham, who is slowly closing in on the Extremist YT as well. The Williams looking pretty quick at this stage in the race, but LH44 looks like we've got a 3-car train materialising. LH44 on the back is not quite close enough into turn 1. He just pulled out of the system coming into turn 1 then. He's looking to set up a move, a bit scrummy, and Brabbit gets a nice run through turn 1. This could give him the chance he needs on Alex Ham. He's not quite close enough. Alex Ham needs to get past Extremist YT. So it looks like we've got a top 5 DRS train, and then we've got a 7th, 8th and 9th train. But LH44 must have completely sent it on Brabbit then into turn 3. He was miles back and manages to just about get it stopped then and up into P8 and on the charge for Alex Ham further back. So he's now managed to get past Brabbit that he failed to do a lap previously. Jonathan Cox as well. Still just trying to close on to the back of Cyril Ferg. Looks like they're all just going to sit stationary, and as is the case with Austria, a lot of train forming and quite often so not much overtaking, but very, very close racing, and we could see this race on the last couple of laps. But that's probably what they're all waiting for. They're waiting for that latter stage of the race, and see if Jubil's fresher tyres do say anything towards the late stage of the race. Potentially could give him that extra couple of laps before he hits the cliff. Obviously he's asking a lot out of these tyres. On the back of Cyril Ferg, who is a lot closer to Jewel, who's a lot closer to Walker on this lap. Is he going to go for a move for the race lead? He's not expending any RS. Is Jonathan Cox expending the RS? No, he's not. Louis Ladd as well on an outside shout, but Extremist YT and Alex Ham going side by side on the run up the hill. This is going to allow LH44 to potentially have a look. Alex YT looking for a cutback. LH44 trying to get his nose in, but Alex Ham finds himself back up in front of Extremist YT, who is going to have the DRS to try and counter attack. He's not got a lot of ERS to use. It's going to be a bold send up side. No, not quite. LH44 lurking in the background, then trying to make the most of any confuffle that does happen in front of him. Alex Ham then up into P6 and looking to try and chase after them, but Jonathan Cox and Ferg has had a bit of a squabble potentially, and Louis Ladd finds himself up into P3. Completely missed the action there, did not know what happened, but Jonathan Cox finds himself down in P5, Louis Ladd up into P3 then with some great moves, and they've lost 2 seconds to Jubal, who is now left on his own to fight Walker. So he's got no backup, no one near him. Confuffle, and Jonathan Cox picks up a 3-second time penalty, which at the moment will lose him the position to Alex Ham. So I don't really know what happened there. Didn't quite catch it. As I click off for a second, of course there's going to be action out the front, but we will now look into the inside of Walker. It's going to be a bold send. He's going to be as late as he dares, not quite going for the move on this occasion though. And move deep. Extremist YT can't quite capitalise on the cutback, so LH44 now on the hunt of Alex Ham and Ferg and Louis Ladd going side by side. Louis Ladd squeezed to the outside, he's all over the grass, but still managed to get the power down, so Ferg aggressively reclaims that podium place. Jonathan Cox still down in and finds himself in these guys do not want to be battling though, because the more they battle, the more time they're going to lose to Jewel and Walker up in front. Walker needs to hold his nerve, and Jewel behind just needs to stay with him towards the latter stage of the race. Of course, there's a yellow flag. Cruvy has retired from the session. Could we see a safety car be brought out in this race? There is going to be a virtual safety car, so this is going to slow the pack down to about 40% race speed. Mercedes is in ruins. That is the car from this game, but that's going to bring out a virtual safety car, which slows the cars down 40%. Race speed, basically put the race neutralise while they clean and debris. Only a virtual safety car, so no safety car, so gap. One up a lot of time early and then punches it very early, which could definitely be a good shout. Drew picks up a 3-second time penalty. Louis Ladd, Jonathan Cox and Ferg all in their little group. Ferg looking to try and make the most out of this VSC and try and close up, but he's going to have to back out. So right free penalty be a lot. He's speeding under safety car as we go back to green of flag racing. Walker has made the most. He's almost at DRS range. He needs to make the most last couple of corners if he can get out of that DRS range, but Jewel is going to try and stay with him as best he can. There's about a 10th to play with, and Louis Ladd not having too much of a pushing as much as he can to try and get back onto the DRS, but Jewel fighting for his life to stay within the DRS. He's coming on to lap 30. We're now in the latter stage of the race. This could be where Jewel's tyres come into his advantage. LH44 on the back of Alex Ham now, who is only a couple of seconds. So if he could just maybe close that little extra. Jonathan Cox, no penalty. Alex has got a Ham done. Unless LH44 can have a massive gain up in front, it's not going to be enough. But LH44 with DRS, Extremist YT further back has fallen out of it. LH44 not with the best run coming out of turn 3. He is not quite going to be able to have a little look at Alex Ham. He's going to have to sit behind him. the back of Louis Ladd. So Louis Ladd found himself up into the podium places for a brief moment, but Ferg aggressively sent himself back up the inside to reclaim it. But Brabham as well, looking to get past the Extremist YT, who's right on the back of him. He was with LH44 for a little while, but it looks like LH44 pace just managed to overwhelm Brabham a little bit too much, and he's been caught behind the traffic that LH44 has managed to clear. But as they come on to the main DRS straight, he is going to be pretty close. 8/10 is the gap, and he could definitely look into the second or potentially even third DRS straight. Up another 3-second time penalty though for cutting that inside curb of turn 1. We'll have a look at the penalty situation. Walker with 3, Louis Ladd with 3, John with 3, LH44 with 12, so he's completely out of this race. Extremist YT with 6, Brabham with 3, Optics with 15, 3, 9, 9, 8. Bagos making a move on Big Mac of the 2 AI cars, having a bit of a scrap as they get lapped by DFO Hazard. But Walker and Jubal then left out to scrap it up at the front. Ferg and everyone else has been left to scrap it out behind after a bit of earlier battling. But Jubal looking to get in front of Walker. Once again, he's got 5 laps to do it. He's got 5 laps to try and get in front. Of course, if he stays as it is, he will win the race. Walker will be dropped back to about P4. If my calculations are correct, he will be dropped back. No, the other 2 have time penalty, so he will only be dropped back to P3. Still a good result, not one he wants. Definitely that earlier time penalty in the race did cost him quite a lot. Ferg looking to get up into the DRS. If these two start battling, Jubal is going to try and hold his advance. He's using overtake though. He's trying to get the overspeed. He's going to cancel it early. He just wants a bit of a slingshot. Just try to stay as close as he can. At the moment, doesn't want to expend too much energy. He's going to halt his advance as much as he can. He's going to have a little run though. Walker having to go defensive to the inside to turn 4. Can I have a better camera angle, please? Side by side for to dry around the outside, and Walker managing to hold on to his race lead, but Jubal with a good exit could potentially look to the outside of the infield section. Ferg, you know, lurking in the background there. If these could definitely be a shout. He could just need to claw back that 5/10 gap and get back into that DRS, but as is the case with his top 4, they're so close, it is very hard to do that. He needs these two to start battling. Walker could try and feed Jubal to the sharks. He could try and back up the pack so that Jubal is getting off him. So Ferg tries to look up the inside for Jubal, and that could allow Walker to try and get the gap he needs. He's not got a lot of ERS compared to Jubal, who's got a lot more. He's got about 15% more. That's about a straight's worth more of ERS than Jubal, who's looking to get a good off turn 1 for the race lead. Then he's in the DRS. We could definitely see a change of to the outside. He's going to keep him squeezed all the way to the outside. He's going to try and open up the corner as much as he can. Walker as late as he can on the brakes. Jubal trying to get a good little cutback. He's not quite going to be able to do that though. And Walker, who was behind at the detection point, picks up DRS for himself. So he's going to be able to alleviate the pressure. That is that. And Ferg finds himself back into that DRS range. And Jonathan Cox is falling a little bit back. He's under pressure from Alex Ham and LH44. He's looking up the inside potentially. Big lockup from Alex Ham that could leave him under pressure from LH44. Back to the front though. CRL Jubal and Walker still tackling it out, and CRL Ferg with 9/10. He's now within that DRS range, so Walker's plan potentially feeding Jubal to the sharks is working. Ferg is back within DRS, and that's going to bring Louis Ladd with him. Sozan picks himself up a 3-second time penalty, but Walker with still not a lot of ERS. There's going to be a full-on safety car. Extremist YT retires from the session. Let's have a little look what happened there, and as we go on board with Drew, let's see what happened. It probably similar case with what happened with LH44. Who is going to peel into the pits? None of the top 4 are, as they weren't close enough, but who is that into the pit lane then? It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, as we pass there on board with Drew, it looks like the Extremist YT just couldn't hold it. He just had a bit of a slide and smacked into the wall. But we'll see who is into the pit lane there. LH44 has managed to go into the pit on the soft compound tyre. He's only got 3 laps left, so is the pit stop really worth it? But he will be very quick and looking to make the most of everyone else's 20-lap old medium tyres. So he could definitely find himself cutting through the field. He's not really lost too much time, so as long as he can cut through quickly, he could definitely be within a shout of maybe a P4, P5 on track. Obviously his 12-second penalty will not be helping him out. And this is going to put our battle for the race lead on standby as we get our second safety car of the race. This could bring Jonathan Cox back into contention for the race lead though. So definitely could help him. This is now our second safety car, and hopefully the restart gives us something for the highlights reel. But yeah, just while the safety car is waiting, all the lap cars are allowed to pass it and unlap themselves. Just while the safety car waits to pick up the leader. Got a bit of quiet time. We're now on to the penultimate lap of the race. We're on lap 35 or lap 36. Will we see this race end under safety car? Will the pack even get the opportunity to bunch up? The safety car, if it is in this lap, the race will finish under safety car. And if that is the case, Walker's going to be the biggest loser of that up in the front. We won't have a race for the race lead. Surely, I've never seen a race on F1 under safety car. So definitely could be interesting. Will it end on the safety car? Will the extremist crash? He was looking pretty good up in P8. Will the crash affect the race at all? If we get the prompt that the safety car is in this lap, then you get one lap of green flag racing with no DRS and Duel giving it everything. They've all got full batteries. All will have full batteries to expend on their last lap. Is the safety car in this lap? Safety car is in this lap, so we've had half a lap under safety car. Was it really worth it then? We're going to get one lap of green flag racing then, ready for a final lap dash to the finish. Duel is going to be giving it everything. Walker's going to be defending for his life for that on-track race lead. Duel looking for a second win in the row to round off a great start to the season then. Walker becomes your effective safety car. He's backing up the pack as much as he can, trying to get a good launch. He's backing them up, weaving all over the place to get some temperature into the tyres. And he's going to be looking to punch it. Is he going to wait late? Hazard gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag. Probably overtook under safety car. But we go racing again. Walker punched it. Duel managed to react rather well. He's only 4 tenths back. We're going to have no ERS or DRS until lap 3. So it is on to the final lap then for the race lead. Duel all over the back of him then. They're all going to have a lot of ERS to use. Duel waiting though. He's going to be waiting for this middle straight. He doesn't want to waste the ERS on the pit straight. He's now going to deploy it. He's going to give it everything for the race lead. Duel looking to make his second race. It looks like Louis Ladd as well is under pressure from Jonathan Cox, and Fergie's looking to put a bit of pressure on him as well. Duel isn't close enough on the occasion to go as deep as he can on the brake. Duel hasn't got the assistance of DRS. He's going to be using all of his ERS and slipstream to the max. Walker straight to the inside. He's going to be white lining it during the end stages of this race. Duel's running out of opportunities to close up and win the race on track. He's going to be pushing him through this middle sector though, and he needs to make the most further back though. We've got Optics, and there's a crash further back. It looks like the same place Alex Albon crashed. Optics is round. Alex Hammer's round. That's going to promote LH44 around the outside into the infield section on his soft tyres. He's not quite going to be able to do it. Hazard finds himself up into P7 then on the back, but further up at the front. Duel's running out of opportunities. Louis Ladd is running out of opportunities. Everyone is running out of opportunities. Hazard on the back of Optics though. Around the outside he goes into the penultimate corner though. It's going to be a bold move to make. Is Optics going to slick up the inside? No. Walker picks himself up. Another 3-second time penalty across the line. He wins it on track, but Duel will win the Austrian Grand Prix. Fergen second. Louis Ladd completes the podium. Walker down into P4 with Jonathan Cox P5. LH44 finds himself P6. A very impressive showing. Down to P7 there was more people across the line. Optics in P8. Hazard in P9. Down to P11. So that's going to promote Optics into P9. Drew up to P7 after penalties. Alex Ham up into P6. A great showing. After even being spun round, he made the most of penalties. And that is going to round off a very, very, very exciting Austrian Grand Prix. Not much overtaken until that last lap, but very big calamity then as we saw Alex Ham go round. Drew is your driver of the day. Pretty good race from the Renault. His teammate up in P2 as well, not looking too bad. So the final race rundown then of today's Austrian Grand Prix, as we see the Mercedes of Drew will take his second win of the season and the second race in a row, and as he claims the top step of the podium, followed by the Renault and the Ferrari after what was such a close DRS train in those later stages. But Duel is your race winner, followed by Ferg. Louis Ladd completes the podium after an impressive showing. Walker in P4 after his penalties. Jonathan Cox, the Red Bull in P5, not the showing he wanted at their home race. BWT Racing point of Alex Ham after being spun round on the final lap finds himself P6. Drew in P7 from finishing starting P15. Very good race from him. LH44 even after 15 seconds of penalties finds himself P8. Brabbit in P9 and rounding off the points finishes is Optics, who pick up a single point for Racing Point. P11 goes to Sos and Pat. P12 to DFRR Hazard. P13 to Bagos. P14 goes to Big Macca, Extremist YT, and P15, and your non-finishers are Crovey and iStream's YT. So that was a very, very interesting race. A lot of mental game, you know, looking to make the most of their racecraft, and it looks like it did pay out. Dougal did not want to attack Walker until it was absolutely necessary in that race, and they just sat in a 5-car train for the entire race, and that is the case at Austria. You've got 3 DRS zones to use, so you might as well just use them and sit back, save fuel, save ERS, save your tyres, and not, you know, waste too much time and risk the battle. And every time you go for an overtake, you're risking your race, because as soon as you get turned in on, that's pretty much your race over. But that was a very, very chaotic race. Any last thoughts you have in the chat, do say them now. That was a pretty good race. I'll save the video clip there and make yourselves a highlight reel, which will be up by tomorrow. But if there's nothing else to say in the chat, this has been me. This has been RRC Tuesday Night Racing after a very interesting Austrian Grand Prix. This has been me, and catch you later, and I'll be back for Friday comms. I've been Zach. See you later.